Start our journey. We are understanding karma yoga, and we have to apply that karma yoga in our daily life. And the best thing to ask a question: how many times we get upset during the day when you wake up in the morning and until you retire to the bed? So, very anxiousness, fear, or anxiety, or hesitation, or extreme fatigue has to do with our binding desire. And the binding desire is present in the mind. So, if we do not change the mind, this binding desire translates into action that causes anxiety, stress, suffering. So that is why we are talking about how many times you get upset. So it means that I become aware. I maintain my awareness. Let us put in a different way that when you move this mind inside with awareness, majority of the challenges, they simply drop, they simply disappear. You move the mind inside, your state of the mind changes. You keep the mind outside, the state of the mind remains habitual, impulsive, instinctive. And because of the binding desire. What is binding desire? It binds me. Why we say it is binding? Because it has an element of attachment. And attachment goes with the likes and dislikes. And then we get upset in a situation, in relationship, in doing a particular thing, we get fatigued and tired. So the master says the first benefit of karma yoga. You already understand. Yoga means the right and proper attitude in the mind, a mental state of calmness, devoid of attachment. That is what the unbinding desire is. So, what happens when we do the karma yoga? The moment you wake up in the morning until you retire to the bed, we are able to drop, dissolve, and destroy the dualities of likes and dislikes, hatred and the love, and attachment and detachment. Throughout the day, you remain full of energy. It is 100% possible. So, here, the master gives one benefit. We are learning the basic principles and then we will go deeper. We will pick up the most authentic text and then we will go into the. So, first thing that master says that karma yoga is skill in action. It is a skill guided not by the attachment, likes and dislikes. What I'm not supposed to do, I'm not doing it. You see, there are different ways to express it. It may be a binding desire, it may be caused by the attachment and detachment. And a simple thing to put it, what I'm supposed to do, I must do it. What I'm not supposed to do, I should not do it. So, what happens the moment you start thinking in that way? The mind that is causing the binding desire, it may cause the anxiety and the reaction will drop. And there we purify the mind. So, this is the first benefit we get by doing the karma yoga. Or now you see that there are many ways to explain it. When action depends on ego and likes and dislikes, there is always a problem. When any action depends on ego and the likes and dislikes, it is going to cause problem and the suffering. It may be anxiety, it may be duality, it may be anything. Because now I'm attached. And when the action depends on the knowledge, clarity, intellect, it becomes karma yoga. Do you feel bored listening to me? That is not karma yoga. Why you are here? You see, that attitude, that awareness should be maintained. That awareness and uh, so what happens? This karma yoga converts into the yoga of knowledge. What is yoga of knowledge? Yoga of knowledge is yoga of awareness. What is that awareness? Yoga of choiceless awareness. Now see that yoga is a choice of. So the first benefit of karma yoga is that there is a skill in action, means that you are able to maintain that awareness inside what is right, what I'm supposed to do, I must do it, keeping aside the attachment and likes and dislikes in your relationship, at profession, in a given situation. So what happens if we go a little deeper? I'm explaining in a briefly, and then when we go deeper, we will talk about it. There is one thing is reason, means the knowledge, and other is the will to act, and knowledge inside. So there is a right knowledge inside, and when you have a right knowledge, there is a natural will. That will is not distorted. That will does not carry the likes and dislikes. So when it does not carry the likes and dislikes, so what happens? The intellect and the knowledge and the action, they merge together. When they merge together, the binding desire, likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment, and the fear all drops from our system. It is something like, have you seen the dog going into the water, returns, and then it shakes off? It shakes off all the water. So we are able to maintain that awareness inside, we shake off all the likes and dislikes. It will come. It will come again and again. It takes time. It is not one day affair. It will come back again and you remember and you shake off. No, that's all. Done. You shake off your all the likes and dislikes. No, what is the thing? What should I do? What is the best? What I'm supposed to do? So what happens? You are able to drop that likes and dislikes from the action. When you are able to drop that likes and dislikes from the action, purity of the mind is there. And when you have a purity of the mind, you start working on the mind. The mind stops working on you. Otherwise, a small thing causes disturbances. We have a habit of drinking a coffee, a particular brand, that causes the problem. A simple thing in our life. Why? If I don't get a cup of coffee, it's okay. No, but the mind forces us to do that. Same thing in our relationship. Oh, you told me, you said this, now I am upset. You see the binding desire. If we do not get out of the binding desire, the mind will remain impure. We cannot be absorbed into the higher meditative state, which leads to awakening. And the more and more, that is why I'm asking a question every time. How many times you were anxious, upset, you have a duality and a conflict and a fatigue and tiredness? Move the mind inside. Ask yourself why it is happening. And you will find out it is happening because of the binding desire. And you simply drop that binding desire mentally. that sense of emotional dependence, and then you continue performing the action, the mind becomes pure. There is no other way to purify the mind except the karma yoga. Well, we think intellectually. So there remains a big gulf between the intellectual knowledge and realization of that knowledge in day to day life. Intellectually, no, I have understood. So I have seen a lot of people who claim that I have intellectually understood. And again, I'm stressed. I have a lot of stress and suffering. So I have to translate that knowledge into day to day action. Sure. Yeah, honey is upset over you. Withdraw yourself. Be silent. Contemplate and reflect. And then see what you are supposed to do. Do it. Well, honey may be anything. So, what happens when we continue? The first thing that's very important. The first thing the Gita says that our mind becomes indifference. So when I use the word indifference, it is a state of dispassion. And the dispassion brings the happiness and the joy in life. So indifference is not against peace and the joy. When we translate in modern psychology, that may be aloofness. No. So here, when we say it removes the mental dirt, emotional dirt, by doing the karma yoga. So removing the mental dirt is what is indifferences. So once that we remain in that state of indifference, what happens in the indifference? We remove the delusion. We remove the delusion. What is that delusion? Because of attachment and detachment, because of likes and dislikes, the mind dictates over us, translates into an action that causes the anxiety, duality, and a conflict are gone. Are gone. Think. Think of this. So when I see that how many times you are upset during the day, it means those binding desire, a sense of attachment and detachment, the likes and dislikes have entered into the mind is dictating you. You have to apply the knowledge. You have to internally think. No, not this way. Let me do this, what I'm supposed to do. Because of the likes and dislikes, because of binding desire, it causes the anxiety, reaction. So first it appears as if we have a sense of indifference within, and then from the indifference, the mind moves to a state of dispassion. From the dispassion, you say there is nothing to be binding. You feel a sense of joy because the delusion is gone. So here the another Krishna, the great master, says that we are able to remove that delusion from the mind, and that mind is now settled in calmness and peace. And it is 100% clear to us. What I'm supposed to do, I must do it. What I'm supposed to do now. As a guide, as a teacher, I should not waste your time. You find the time, you join the session. So why should I waste? What I'm supposed to do. Same thing. What I'm supposed to do with reference to the body, the mind, the intellect, professional life, social life. You simply do what you are supposed to do by becoming aware the mental dirt is gone. You enter into the state of indifference. That indifference, think of this, that indifference is a state of dispassion. So in the beginning, what will happen? That indifference will be very hard. No, 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 I was holding back my anger. Yes, it will happen in the way. You are holding back. But then that holding back will convert into an indifference. From the indifference, you move into a state of dispassion, and the dispassion becomes a joy. Great milestone in our day to day life. So, what happens when we start removing the delusion in our personal life, in our relationship, in our personal, professional, social life? What will happen? That this mind lives in the state of calmness, peace, joy. Then only we can take another step, that how this world is delusion. We have to go and understand that we will gradually we are moving to about this. Simply say action begins. I'm not aware. The mental state is has a binding desire. So it's a karma. The action binds. Once you start an action with a binding desire, it never comes to an end. It accumulates millions of impressions. Look at the honey, she is not understanding. And, your expression, your mind is constantly moving. There is no reason. There is no problem. Have you ever experienced that? Unnecessary. Unnecessary, the mind keeps on thinking. But when you start the karma yoga, purification of the mind is there, attachment goes away, likes and dislikes drops, the delusion goes away, and you move into the state of indifference. Indifference is nothing but the dispassion, and the dispassion, once you have a joy, a sense of joy, calmness, you have achieved dispassion. Or otherwise, you can talk at intellectual level. It is only because of karma yoga. Very important. What Krishna says in the Gita, it is only because of karma yoga your mind constantly returns to be aware of the real self within. In the beginning, you become aware, oh, peace is already within, calmness is already within. You heard a lot of words like choiceless awareness. You experience that choiceless awareness. Simply intellectually saying it doesn't work. So this master, Krishna, says there is a sense of self-abidance. For example, mind says you have a sense of anxiety, and the mind goes inside. It understands, it becomes aware of the peace is already within me. Peace is my essential nature. That is gone. We have to live into that extraordinary awareness in order to move into the higher journey of meditation. Shruti, Shruti, Prati, Vipanna. There is another word to understand. Now your sense organ is aware of the objects, respective objects. Eyes is aware of the name and the form. Ears are aware of the sound. Like this, all the five sense organ goes outside, but you will see that it remains unattached. And because it remains unattached, you have a joy. You have a state of dispassion. Should I not be attached to my honey? No. You should love your honey. Why should you be attached? Why should we be attached? Attachment is emotional dependence. It is an emotional dirt. It simply means I expect you to do what I feel you should be doing. Emotional dirt, you say, or you can say delusion. So that sense of the delusion goes away from the mind. And it instantly, the mind goes inside. Why it goes inside? Because now none of these sense organ has that element of likes and dislikes. So then what happens? So you live into that state of dispassion. Internally, maybe you like a particular food, you take it, but there is no binding. If you don't get that food, you take another. No, I will only wear this shirt. Binding. You feel a sense of freedom inside. The mind experiences that sense of freedom. Why? Because the emotional dependence is not there. And with that mental calmness and state, peace, you are performing all your action. I can tell you, you will stop being fully busy. I can give you more than 50 benefits of it. You will start organizing your life every day. Your mind will recall naturally, be in the state of purity, that this is what I have to do today. So this master says why it happens. What happens that you reach to that higher state of awareness? Your intellect is now settled. Intellect means the knowledge is settled. What is that knowledge is settled? Knowledge is free from the delusion, emotional doubt. You start living wisely. I'm summarizing the benefits as discussed by this great master, and then once we go deeper. So, what happens? The mind used to shine in all the actions of our life, causing the binding desire, attachment, likes and dislikes, which resulted into anxiety, duality, and a conflict. We used to accumulate lot of mental impurities, but now the intellect is shining inside before you perform any action in the world. So, because the intellect is shining, mind is free, mind lives into that state of calmness and peace. Think of it, think, contemplate and reflect. How should I perform a particular action minus ego, minus desire, binding desire? To put it in a very simple way. So once the mind is purified, what will happen? You listen to the teacher, you listen to a particular principle, and your mind is absorbed into meditation. Until the impurity are present, it is not possible. I just explained it briefly in a sense that, when I say emotional dependence or binding desire, normally we say there are six enemies of the mind that lives with the binding desire, emotional dependence that distorts our action. First is the attachment and detachment. Second is the desire. Desire fulfilled, it leads to greed. Desire not fulfilled, it agitates the mind, and then it results into delusion. It builds our ego, and it results into jealousy and hatred. So all these six factors are always living in the mind when we are not doing karma. And how simple it is. You think what I'm supposed to do internally, do it. What I'm not supposed to do, don't do it. Oh, it's a binding desire. Can I eat anything else except not pasta? Yes, I can eat. Don't allow the mind to get agitated because of anything outside. Once we reach to that state of purity of the mind, then what happens? Then you listen to the teacher. What is that? Where you listen to these higher principles, and you, while listening, you move into that state of meditation. यदि देहं पृथक्कृत्य चिति विश्राम्य तिष्ठसि अधुनैव सुखी शान्तः बन्धमुक्तो भविष्यसि. So, in that state of purity of the mind, in the state of a dispassion, joyfully, I know, I am aware that I am not the body. So the mind remains in that state of the calmness that I am not the body. Why it remains in the state of calmness? Because the mind is continuously living with it. And if we continue that state, we enter into a choiceless awareness. Adunai Sukhi Shanta. And you experience peace and happiness here and now. Last thing I'm summarizing. Since the time you wake up in the morning, you have to ask yourself what I'm supposed to do, I must do it. What I'm not supposed to do, I should not do it. Then you will be able to recognize that how the mind is functioning with the binding desire, attachment, and detachment, and you can correct it. No, I'm not doing this. You are doing performing all the actions minus binding desire, minus emotional dependence. I believe you are getting it. Minus emotional dependence, minus emotional dirt of likes and dislikes, minus expectations. So, what happens? Our body, mind, intellect, they all are instruments. We start feeling as if they are the instrument like car. I have to drive the car there. Car does not have any binding desire. Think, contemplate, and reflect. So, it demands a lot of thinking inside. Let us close your eyes. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed, looking at the neck joint. Be there, feel. Now check the mental state. It takes time, but it returns. You are looking inside, and then the mind is looking at the neck joint. You are there. You feel sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Shoulder joints. We tend to forget because the mind is distracted because of the binding desires. So, by doing the practice, we are introducing the karma yoga in all the steps, the way it is possible. First, you are aware of the mind, then, the mind is aware of the shoulder joints, then, you feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Simplified again. You are aware of the entire body, or you feel the entire body, that is also okay. You're not aware of the body with attachment. You're simply aware of the body. You see, that is silent, not by the minding desire. You casually are aware of the entire body. You feel, experience the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. At the physical level, we can figure out our binding desire that converts into an attachment. But it is a big challenge that how do we recognize that emotional dependence of the mind on the things and objects outside? So it begins with the thoughts. So we remain as an observer of all these thoughts. So these thoughts, feeling in the sensations, it is the thought makes me realize I have a headache. It is the thought makes me aware that a person is crazy. It is the thought that makes me understand that emotional dependence. Because the mind is constantly thinking, brooding over the object or a person. So, what we do, we are carefree, we simply observe. You may say if a particular thought is being repeated again and again, you can you can replace the thinking. Why I'm attached? Why mind you are bringing the same thought again and again? When you are not able to replace it or you are not aware, what happens? That is where the anxiety, reaction, depression comes. I believe you're getting it. So being carefree is so we have been doing, I think that brings a deeper understanding also. You all have been sharing good. So we traditionally means that we pick up the mantra and we replace all the rest of the unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. You see, we are chanting because it should create an impression in my mind. Why? Whenever the mind is upset, I can replace it. That's why we are still doing it. Simple meaning, may there be a well being for all. But now the intellect takes over the mind. Intellect says there is a state of well being present everywhere in all the living species. Oh, it's a common factor. Yes, it's a common factor. Now, when the mind looks a person with whom we are attached, that very attachment loosens. Think, I'm giving you a very clear picture. No, no, why should I be attached? I love this guy, I take care of this. So you are replacing that attachment with the kindness, with the love. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. The way we discover the anxiety in a particular thought or a reaction or a depression, the same way we discover that peace in this mantra. Peace is a common factor. Every living species wants, aspires, desires peace. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Let there be wholeness in all. I believe you remember when we do not experience that sense of wholeness in within us, in the mind, we mind moves us to a sense of incompleteness, and that sense of incompleteness causes the fear, anxiety, duality, and a conflict. It happens due to the emotional dependence. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Let there be auspiciousness for all. Spaciousness for all. When there is a peace, when there is a well being, it is all about. You see, I believe so. All of you are being settled easily. So knowledge is there, clarity is there, and then we are doing the practice. So now see that another level that we have been doing, looking inside the cave of your heart, in the space you are dropping Om Shanti. You are doing quick, short breathing through both the ribs, from both the nostrils into the ribs, and the body remains steady. So at least three layers you are aware, and the fourth layer is the knowledge. Start breathing, quick and short breathing from both the nostrils into the rib cage, dropping Om Shanti gently in the state of steadiness of the body. Just continue. Quick, short breathing continues. So, what happens? The mind returns with its emotional dependence. It says, no, I cannot do it. Why you can't do it? That mind creates a sense of ego. And mind does not want to change. So it says, I cannot do it. That ego we should get rid of. I believe you are understanding. Continue breathing, continue dropping Om Shanti in the space, you are aware of it. And the body remains steady. Just continue. The mind objects. It is not the mind. I say, no, I'm objecting. I don't feel like doing it. So that I is created by the mind. So you simply maintain your awareness and you continue. one very small but significant step to understand what exactly is the karma yoga. That I thought is also in the mind. The same mind is doing the breathing, the same mind is dropping the Om Shanti, and the same mind says, no, I cannot do it. Do you understand that delusion? And stop this, do nothing, experience the change. Everything is being experienced by the mind. So we are not attached. Okay, his experience is okay, good. Now start inhaling deep, silent, and slow. Start with the nyasa. As you inhale, move the mind inside the right arm in the space, singing Om Shanti. During exhalation, the mind moves from the fingertips to the shoulder inside in the space, singing Om Shanti. You see that there is no I thought which comes. We are just into an action. Just pay attention. So, what happens when we do this? The mind prevents the impurities to take over. I've already explained it. And that maybe one indication is that your body doesn't move, it remains in that state of total stillness, means what the mind is living within. When the mind is living within, then you are aware of it. And then the intellect takes over the mind with the knowledge, with an understanding, with an awareness. And you are in the mode of doing karma yoga. Now move the mind on the left arm. I lost the connection for some time because of tripping in the electricity. So continue moving the mind inside. Now go to the right leg. Move the mind on the right leg. Yeah, dropping Om Shanti. So, what we are checking today, is there any resistance of the mind which says how long I have to do it? So, you will understand that is where the mind creates an I thought, ego that needs to be dropped. So, you simply recognize it is the mind that has created an I thought is resisting. Now, inside the left leg, do you see that there is no resistance at all? The mind continues to flow on what I'm supposed to do. I'm just explaining practically. Oh, what I'm supposed to do, I'm doing Om Shanti, mind moves there. Okay. Is there any resistance? It comes with the ego. I thought in the mind. So, may I see that by the practice we intensify our awareness, we find there is a choiceless state even while doing this step. So, there comes a joy. Check it. When you are in a state of dispassion, indifference, the joy is always there. That is why we are doing the nyasa on all the five major parts to check. And now in the spine, from the crown of the head to the tailbone, Om Shanti. From the tailbone to the crown of the head. Breath is deep, silent, slow. Okay. You're dropping Om Shanti, yes. Body remains steady. What I'm supposed to do. So I'm doing it, but the I thought creates the challenges. No, no, it's okay. Now the mind gets distracted. Why? Because of the binding desire. And once it has created an I thought, then it lives with the I thought throughout the day. I thought contains the emotional dependence, attachment, detachment. That is what we are learning to remove it. It's not required. And now leave this step also. Move your mind in the cave of your heart, singing Om mentally. And when the mind seemingly stops, drop the Shanti. I believe you are understanding the finer lines of this karma yoga. And this I thought will return again and again, millions of times, if we are not living wisely during the day. In our relationship at personal, professional, and social level, it is going to haunt you. So every day, by one practice, we purify the mind, and by millions of the thought pertaining to I causes the impurity. One major reason why we do not progress. Om Shanti. So when Om Shanti you're doing, almost you enter into the state of, you can say nothingness or a silence. So when you are there, you need not to say Om Shanti again and again, unless the thought returns. So, what we are asking the mind to stay away from the very I thought. Why? Because it takes us to a higher level of awareness, almost like a choiceless awareness. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. So, how are you, Stephen? Uh,
I'm good. Thank you very much. It I'm living every moment wisely,
Good.
and today's meditation was just completely absorbed. I'm in a state of peace, and I feel this warmth of happiness within my chest. Just a great feeling. Thank you.
Very good. Just remind yourself, I thought is not there, so you are in a indifference. Indifference results into dispassion, and the dispassion results into joy and health. Beautiful. How are you, David and Jerry? Are you, Rakesh?
Thank you, sir. Uh, so it was very good. In fact, when your voice was not there, uh, I was doing the nyasa on the spine only. So
Good.
I didn't go to the limbs. but one and the same. So very, very peaceful and
Very
very relaxing.
good. Yeah. For just for a few seconds, the electricity tripped and my computer went off. We waited for to return. How are you, David and Jerry?
Very good, sir. Thank you. It was the analogy of the dog shaking when he gets out of the water or she gets out of the water was very effective, and I think I shook any
That's good.
thoughts that really created a very peaceful. In fact, when we lost you there, I didn't even. It was quiet, but I didn't have a sense of time of how long you were gone for.
Oh, beautiful.
So no, it was very, very aware of everything, but very peaceful.
You see, I think that analogy, shake off. The moment you find anxiety, duality, conflict, shake off. Move the mind inside. Become aware. What's happening? Mind, why are you crazy? Remember, and then see what you can do, what you are doing, what you are supposed to do. So it demands more of a contemplation and reflection to move into karma yoga than anything. Karma yoga is not that you are very kind to others. That kindness may contain sympathy, may contain emotional dependence. Do you see that? So when you keep that emotional dependence, it's not happening then. Then mind is not changing. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Thank you. Namaste. Um, I didn't notice that you had left, so you were still with me.
Very good.
It was really deep, and the lesson of indifference and the awareness of being indifferent and not meaning that you don't care or that you're not tuned in or aloof, like you said. But indifference is just it's kind of like the space. It's that sweet spot where they throw you a compliment. It's like, oh, okay, thank you. But they throw you an insult. Okay, thank you. It's the
Yeah.
same. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, you are right. You rightly understood that sense of indifference is not that you are totally away and aloofness from the world. I'm indifferent of the light. What I have to do with this lamp or the monitor? My main job is to talk to you. So you see that sense of indifference is not aloofness, not loneliness. It is there. It's okay. Beautiful. How are you, Brandy?
Good morning. Thank you. I'm good. I experienced a lot of bodilessness today and timelessness. It was a nice,
Good.
really absorbed practice. Yeah.
That I thought is not there, and we always experience timelessness. Very good. How are you, Teddy? Teddy is strong.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here?
I also did not have a sense of time during the
Beautiful.
silence, but I was very distracted by a lot of thoughts. But at the same time, I was aware of my heart center, which I usually have trouble finding,
Good.
and I felt also a sense of I feel like I could sense the peace, and I could also sense a lot of chaos. But they're like two different things.
Yeah. Chaos belongs to I thought, peace belongs to you.
Yes, there's a lot of I thought.
Lot of I thought. That
The
when there
body.
is no I thought, there is a sense of timelessness. So you experienced both alternatively.
Yes. Well, yes,
Beautiful.
at the same time.
Or at the same time. It's a simultaneous. That's good. Yeah. That I thought, that mind has to work with reference to the I thought, so it can be simultaneous.
During vinyasa, I had a sensation in the top of my brain.
Okay.
And I thought it was strange because they tell me that you don't have nerve endings in your brain. So I wondered I couldn't figure out what it was, but it just felt like the top of the spine as if it went all the way up to the top of your head.
Are you aware that you are speaking so fluently as if there is no problem at all?
No, I'm shaking all around, so I feel like the shaking is affecting my speech.
But
But
you are,
I'm glad to know that.
yeah, you see that? It means it is a state of consciousness. We can move to that state of consciousness. How are you, Anesthesia?
Thank you. I'm very calm and deeply absorbed. My mind likes to bring me a lot of memories from my childhood.
Okay.
I think the deeper I go, so sometimes these memories just very long term pop up.
They will come and go. If you are continuously doing the practice, they will come and go. Beautiful. How are you, Samir?
Sir, it came very natural to me. I was thinking that again I am moving into peace, happiness, and it was
Good.
a very natural kind of a feeling there. In now peace, I am feeling like that it is my original form state, and what my mind is doing, I am imposing things. Then it is happening on me.
Good.
Something like that.
Yeah, when we are not imposing anything, the mind remains free. Imposing means the I thought is there, the presence of I-ness is there. So when the I-ness is not there, but it has to, we should have that state all the time during the daily activities. Ashok, yes. How are you, Ashok?
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Sir, all good, and practice was very good.
Good.
And during the daytime as well, I was contemplating and reflecting,
Good.
and rejecting the worship.
Very good. We are going to pick up another new topic in the next week. So how are you, Vaibhav?
So I'm good. It was peaceful. Being separated from what is going in the mind, being at the backspace, it's totally calm and relaxing.
Beautiful. Just this for a couple of days. The moment I thought I am the doer and I'm the enjoyer, we should bypass that and let me do what I'm supposed to do, and you do it. And then you see the result. That is all for today. We'll meet again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste, sir. Everyone, namaste. Thank you
Right.
so much.
Right.
Jai Guru.